Hello, welcome in sorcerers. Today's video will be a little bit on the low tech side. I had a grand vision of how I would show off a lot of videos and things for other creators because today it's going to be a little bit of a celebration of one, the fact that you see on screen right now that I have hit 511 subscribers as of the recording of this video, which is like 411 more than I had approximately 4 months ago when I first started this journey into sorcery world. But I'm not really at least I don't think I am. I don't think I'm like a super vain guy. And as much as I appreciate you all subscribing to me, I really feel more comfortable shouting out and calling out other creators who I have watched all along the way and who I think bring a ton of awesome uh, gameplay, news, insights, charisma, cool interviews, history, and even like sort of like more esoteric sort of pontifications about the world, the realm of sorcery. So, what I've done is I've found 10 creators, and we're going to talk about each of them in brief. We're going to show off just where their channel is, and then we're going to maybe talk about what you can expect if you go and subscribe to their channels. These are the creators that I really value a lot in this sort of small community. I'm a big believer in rising tides, raising all ships. So much in that vein, I just want to give a heartfelt appreciation, one, to the community for embracing me and trying to come in here from the magic world. I'm new to this, but everybody's been spectacular, and it's one of the reasons that I just love sorcery so much. Outside of the game just being awesome and the art being great, the community is like this other pillar that has just been fantastic. Whereas I come from a community that feels oftentimes at odds. There's a lot of argumentation in the magic world. There's a lot of, jaded players. There's new players who are like, don't make me feel bad for my hobby. And there's just so much tumult and drama all the time. And that doesn't mean that we don't have that, but by and large, the sorcery community has been pretty open and awesome, and everybody's just here to have a good time with this game and kind of relive maybe feelings that they had when they were young, playing Magic or playing some other card game, or they're brand new to the game in general and they don't know any different. And this game is just because it's very good on its own. They've taken it on and just love it with a passion now. So without further ado, I hope that you find some value in these. Let's go ahead, take a look first at this one right here. We have Archives of the Realm, maybe one of the older content creators for sorcery. They have a ton of gameplay videos. We'll show an example. I've picked out one video from each creator that I'll show right after I show their sort of logo. Obviously, they have 8,500 subscribers. They're killing it. Some will have less subscribers than me, even. Many will have more because they've been around longer. But these folks put out great content. They have their own Discord. And so let's look at an example of what you can expect if you haven't seen Archives of the Realm. Or there's a lot of different things they do, but one of my favorite things about them is that they do this live sorcery gameplay, and like it's often scheduled in advance. So this one's actually scheduled for 6/11, which is that today? Yes. So it's almost probably happening right now as we speak. They're playing a game between Ra's al Ghul and I don't know, somebody. So gameplay is hard to find in sorcery. It's hard to film. That's why I haven't done it yet. It is in the works, and I want to do it, but we're gonna have to put some more effort into trying to get a simple mic set up so that you can hear the players talking through plays as we do them, and just overhead camera setup. And so working on it, just not here yet. But give a shout out to Archives of the Realm, great creator. Next, Common Sense Sorcery Podcast. These guys also came from Magic, Zach and Phil. They also release, I think, 2 to 3 videos. One might be for just Patreon, for just their Patreon followers. That's kind of locked, but the other 2 are free, and they have a great series that they're doing right now. in the vein of Frost Mage and Lavamancer, those fully constructed pre-con decks that you can play right out of the box at a tournament. They're starting to create $100 variants for every single avatar in the game of Sorcery, and one of the most recent that I really enjoyed because it gives you a lot of insight into what these avatars do is this $100 budget Battle Mage. Oh, get some. I got a little notification there. So they say, I think at the beginning of the videos, kind of like you can win some games with this, but you probably won't win a tournament. But this is a great place to start. And they go over in detail all the card choices, possible upgrades, play styles, wombo combos. Phil is like a master of coming up with these crazy combo ideas, and it's kind of a joy to listen to him go off about combos that probably have uh, I think according to Zach, it was something like go off like maybe 20% of the time, but super fun to listen to these two banter off of each other, and they put in a ton of work on all these videos. So give them some love if you haven't seen them already. I know they were one of the podcasts because coming from Magic, I could have some solidarity. I could relate to them of like I was too. They were one of the first creators I found when trying to figure out sorcery for myself. Then we staying with the competitive sort of nature of things, we have Golden Eagle cards. And as they say here in the title, we have sorcery gameplay, deck techs, and event results. And they have sort of podcasts that break down in depth from a competitive perspective a lot of sorcery results, online gameplay results that they help to host online. They give away prizes such as altars and things to the online players. So they're very involved with the online state of play. If you're curious about how to play sorcery, or you don't have somebody that you can play sorcery with, these folks will help you kind of learn how to get into the scene. And I believe they have videos explaining that. But one of my favorite videos they did was just this general discussion of staples. Because when you first start sorcery, like there's 1,000 cards in the card pool right now or more, and you don't really know half of what they do. Like looking at cards, you have almost there's a state of overwhelmingness if you're entering the game right now, and so they break down a lot of the most important staples, how they work, what's interesting about them, how you can use them in your local tournaments or your decks, and they have some fun, lively discussion while doing it. So go ahead and check in with these folks right here at Golden Eagle Cards, and then for news, sorcery news daily. If you haven't subscribed or heard of Lord of Itza before, his name is Josh. He is a judge. I think he lives in the Midwest, and he loves the color purple. And you often see the color purple everywhere in his videos, which I can dig. Purple is a regal color, so good for him. But Josh is very well versed, one, in the judging scene. He's probably like one of the head judges of sorcery right now, or maybe he already is. Um, but also has a good player centric perspective on any kind of controversies. And there's very few controversies, but things that change in the realm or like card prices, keeps you up to date on that stuff very well, and just puts in the work, gives a lively, informative video. If you have very sensitive hearing, you may want to turn the video down in the very beginning, because if you haven't seen the videos, he always opens up, or tends to always open up, with a loud sorcerers, and then kind of low key the rest of the video. But that's his thing, that's his gimmick, and who am I to take away from that? But it's certainly like if you're wearing headphones or something, you may want to be conscious of that. But he's at 2,000 subscribers, 303 videos. He's putting them out constantly, doing the work and doing a ton of judging. Like his whole calendar for the next couple months is booked from what he has said on his channel, with just constant events. So he gives a lot to the community. And one of his favorite videos was, speaking of his role, Judge program has arrived. So this is something that I've considered almost for me, just to become a much better player, is to start maybe looking at a journey into like how to be a judge. Because I'm also trying to start the scene in the Asheville, North Carolina area. And so they may need somebody to be a judge. And you know, if I can pull that off, uh, then that might be really useful in the journey I'm trying to help facilitate for new players to jump in. So this is a good place to start. And Josh is seems like a genuinely lovely guy. Haven't met him, but seems great. Next, Ash and Void. Ash and Void often plays online, has played in person, I believe, as well. Has 399 subscribers, only 15 videos so far, but the videos are such a high quality and they come from a competitive standpoint. Again, you'll learn a ton. It's sort of soothing voice. He's got a nice low light kind of uh, atmosphere with sort of like some neon in the back or something. So there's a style to it, and the singular best video, in my opinion, is very helpful to any new sorcery player or any intermediate sorcery player trying to take a level up, and that is Atlas Fundamentals. When we build out our Atlas and we put our sites in certain positions, we don't necessarily, when we're new, think about the repercussions of that. And so he breaks down all sorts of opening patterns of like your first 4 sites, your first 5 sites, to give the pros, the cons, and what different avatars might want, what different deck styles might want. And it's thought-provoking stuff. I think if you're going to play any tournaments or any, you know, more competitive games, this is well worth the watch, and it's something that you should definitely subscribe to his channel for. He also breaks down tournament results, and he's been placing very highly, so you know you can kind of trust the information that he gives. Next up, I really enjoy this. Sorcery 102. As the title says, it's kind of like the next level up from the very beginner. So we have 2 podcasters from, I believe, the Portland, Oregon area. One of them is Stu. He's commented on the videos here before. And the other gentleman, I need to remember the name of. So let me look and see real quick. See if they have it here. We have... Ooh. Robbie. Okay. Bobby. There we go. Bobby. Anyway, so now that we're on the channel, we can just talk about it right here. What you can expect to see here is like, honestly, like some super fun just discussion that strays the line between hyper competitive and casual. And I think they enjoy both. And one of the reasons I like this podcast is because there's a lot of value placed on just playing the game at a fun, goofy level. And so one of the episode that I want to bring up and talk about is none other than pet cards. Are they playable? And in the corner you can see a squeaker, which you know I love if you follow this channel. And so they kind of give a lot of oxygen to the idea that like maybe we can play these cards and we won't be embarrassed by them. And I think there's a real danger when you get hyper competitive. You start to, just like any game, you start to whittle down like this is the absolute best strategy and there's no other alternatives, and you start to shortcut. And what I appreciate about this podcast is because they're very thoughtful in not doing that. They don't take these cards for granted. And by doing these sort of experimental episodes where they kind of ponder what could be possible, I think it opens them up. It's like the brewer's mentality. In every sort of game, there's certain archetypes of people. Some are just like, give me a deck list online, I'll take it to a tournament and I'll crush it because I'm mechanically sound and I'm like very chess-like. Some people in the card game are very valuable for being brewers and being thinkers, and these folks definitely fall into that category. I don't know if they're like I think they're really good players, but I don't know if they're like top of the charts players, but I don't think that matters because what they bring is like an open mind to all kinds of wild ideas, and they banter and it's super fun, and they seem like super great guys. So give them a shot. One of the classics. If you're looking for news and information about what sorcery looks like outside of the United States, because it's got to be tough out there for folks outside of the United States to get into sorcery, but we've certainly seen this particular content creator, both Sophie and, let's see what we're looking at here. Sophie's very active on like Facebook and like other online, but I think they're from Denmark, and her husband maybe, or friend. I don't know the relationship between these two, brother and sister. I have no idea. But they co-host, and they both bring something special, and it's super fun to listen to a Danish accent for me, being from the rural south of the United States. But these folks do a ton of work. And one of the things that I really appreciate them is they do a lot of news. You see, they have 587 videos. They're very positive. They're constantly engaged in places like Facebook and Reddit on official channels. And they tend to bring a more art-centric perspective to the game, which is one of the reasons that I'm highlighting them here. And these are not ranked in any order. There's nothing like that. This was just, I wanted to pick 10 kind of channels that you could find and subscribe to if you haven't already. But I really appreciate when we talk to artists, and that's going to be something that I actually want to bring into the channel as well, because it's we want to really like emphasize and highlight how awesome the artists for this game are. I love, and I used to do interviewing before my previous degree. My first degree was in journalism, so I feel 100% comfortable doing interviews for folks, and through my counseling background and journalism, I think I could probably bring something that would be entertaining, interesting to the sorcery community just by talking with some of these artists more in person. And that'll be something to expect. It's not on the docket written in stone yet, but it's something I have been thinking about. So until then, or even like no matter if I'm doing it too, check in with these folks' channel. Give them some love if you haven't already. Then, Wizards of Fun. One of the first videos I saw was Zach and Phil from the Common Sense Sorcery podcast, and Roaring Turkey, another sort of more competitive player, playing a multiplayer game with Wizards of Fun, who the specialty I want to say for this creator is honestly like doing a ton of work editing and filming live events. During their time at SorceryCon, they filmed all of their games. They filmed this video, which was one of my favorites, this multiplayer, 4-player free-for-all chaos, which got me into the idea of playing multiplayer. The amount of work that went into this had to be nuts, and I think it's gotten more views than anything else on their channel. But if you haven't subscribed to them, the rest of their content is great as well. So I just want to show some appreciation for Wizards of Fun. And at some point, I think I like tried to like do a collaborator invite with them, but they didn't really collaborate on the video. I was just shouting them out in a multiplayer game. So I hope if they watch this, they realize like I wasn't trying to be scammy or weird. I was just like, I'm new to the YouTube collaboration scene, so I don't know the etiquette. I was just trying to be like, yo, let your audience know that I am also like shouting you out and being like, yeah. And if we want to do more formal sort of collaboration, happy to do that. But yeah, so thanks to Wizards of Fun for doing and putting the work in. And I think they're going to be filming more stuff here coming up soon. They may even have a more official role filming things. I don't know that, but that's in my head for some reason. Like I've heard that in the distance. Next up, this one's wild. Swords of Sorcery. Super awesome if you're into the more esoteric sort of lore side. The I love the comment here. It says, I've got all sorts of sorcery content. There's only 8 videos at the moment, but these videos, if you're familiar with Magic World, they're much more of like a Ristic Studies sort of bent, in which there's a lot of flashy animation and editing and really cool, thoughtful narration. These are long videos. They're very entertaining, and so they get you thinking. And so one of the ones I will shout out is this 41-minute video, The Mortal Realm, the lore. And so on sorcery cards themselves, we have hints. We have real world events. We have real places referenced. Well, this creator actually breaks down that to like the marrow of it all. He like takes it as deep as he can and then adds on his personal experience. There's some sort of hypotheticalness to it, but makes a compelling case. And it's a fun video to watch because the animations and stuff still stick out to me today. So definitely give it a shot if you're into that more like, yeah, let's check out the flavor in the sorcery storyline, if there is one. Next, Waz TCG. Um, he's no lack of confidence, the best sorcery contested realm channel. Then there's a dot dot dot, so maybe there's some little like hedging on that. But regardless, what I do enjoy about Waz is that they have created short form, sort of top 10 videos that are all thoughtful, well narrated, interesting, and clear. They're very concise and clear. So if you have only 10 minutes to watch a video, you can pick out a Waz video, get a lot of good information from it. I certainly have. And they're a fairly new creator with 20 videos so far. So I think they're growing just fine. But if you want to give them some love, I'm sure they wouldn't mind. Next, the original, the OG. I bring this up because if you're brand new to the game, um, like Magic the Gathering has a page, but it's much more of like, let's advertise. There's not a lot of interesting, I would say, content coming from the mothership, as they call it. I think that's totally different with Sorcery TCG. And the reason I want to highlight them is if you're brand new, you can get so much value, I did at least, from you buy the precons, you start out, and you're like, I have 1 million questions about how this wildfire works or this other mechanic plays out in the game. Like I kind of know, but I'm guessing a lot. I don't know how life totals work. There's all kinds of stuff. And those questions will be largely answered in a very clear and like super fun, awesome gameplay that they do with each of the precon decks against one another with the two hosts. So I think this is like one of the best starting points for any player getting into sorcery. If you know you have a friend or somebody who's bought the precons, point them to these videos. These videos are, in my opinion, the best videos at helping to onboard new players into understanding the game. And once players get past that initial hump of trying to figure out the rules, I think they become much more invested. I know that I did because there was certainly doubts in the very beginning getting into a brand new system to where I was kind of like, oh, is this game going to be too tough? Is it too like are the descriptions on the cards too flavorful, because I'm looking up things on curiosa.io and the codex and I'm not really like grasping all of the language. I'm much more of a person who needs to see somebody do a thing to understand than reading and comprehending straight from a book. I know people are different that way, but if you have a friend who's confused at all about how to play these precons, these videos are the number one. I just love them. I think they're great, and they're super fun to watch. Like the personalities of the people playing are amazing. So, with that said, that is the end. There's no more arrows to point to. There's 10 total YouTube channels that you can check out if you want to. And I really appreciate you spending time with me at Rule Zero. The cars outside, if you heard that, love to blow their exhaust on the road outside my house and rev up because I live in the rural country. And what are kids gonna do, huh? Other than rev? Maybe they should play sorcery. Maybe I can get them into playing sorcery instead of like revving. Or they can do both. But just to end this video, what I would like to say is that if you're unfamiliar with Rule Zero, what Rule Zero is it's kind of the discussion that we have before a game. It could happen before D&D, it can happen before sorcery, it can happen before Magic, about the kind of game that we want to play, what we enjoy, what kind of things we don't enjoy. We're trying to set expectations so that everyone in the room has an equally awesome and fun time. And so my idea through this channel has always been, even when it's just Magic based, was how to facilitate and help people have the best time playing the game. And so there may be times where we have discussions or maybe even have disagreements, like on my video about faceless characters, and that's okay. as long as we're being respectful and recognizing that everybody's here to have an awesome time. And I know you are too. So thank you very much. And I will see you next week with something more of like a box opening, mailbag, or deck tech episode, like you've come to know me for. And until then, keep contesting the realm.